When I say Hillshire, you say Farm Critical EDH.
I'm not saying that.
I'm Eric, and I'm here with...
I'm Logan.
And today we're here with our midweek update, which we are now dubbing Keeping Tabs on cEDH.
Yeah, that's because we're not creative. I bought this nice little computer, and it's got plenty of memory to store all these Chrome tabs in. And we've got a bunch of Chrome tabs open. You can't see all of them, but you do see one. Up on the screen here, who do we have?
We have Gold Sabertooth.
And this is like a special treat because he's actually live right now, and he's drawing a new playmat.
Yeah, stop watching us. Go watch this guy.
He's been going for 4 hours and 1 minute.
He is like an absolute like workhorse. I think it's one of the things I've really enjoyed about either getting to like interview him or just talk with him over various projects. Is just his commitment to like both quality and quantity. And so super excited that the Magda, community is going to be getting another super cool playmat. It looks like it's coming out really, really great.
I think this one's going to be like a little bit Mad Max Fury Road style, where they have all the vehicles and stuff. That's really cool. And he was talking earlier on the stream. I was just kind of finishing up my work day and listening to him. He was talking about how he feels like he can give back and be a part of the community and like be integrated with the community by doing things like this, especially focusing on these groups that like you have these diehard Magda players and stuff like that. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
This is our second video that we've been able to do with playmats and kind of showing off stuff. This one's not quite done yet, but I guess the last one was Lumra, and I got that one in the mail, which like it's so sick.
Oh yeah, we were talking on stream with Cal, and they've been cranking out orders. Littlest Mensch, Drew, one of the Magda mods, was instrumental in helping us kind of like vision board what it was that we wanted for the Lumra playmat. And so he also did a huge part of that, at least as far as I'm aware, for this Magda one as well. So kind of talking about the ways that like Tim is really passionate about finding ways of giving back to the cEDH community. I think that's another way where I don't know if Drew is a super front-facing figure, but for the people that know him, he absolutely just works and works and works. And most communities that he's a part of are better for it.
So he's Magda and Lumra, is that right? Okay. Yeah.
So he did a lot of like restructuring over Magda, and then he just kind of like stumbled into the Lumra Discord, and we got to talking about the primer that I wrote, and he was making some kind of like structural suggestions, and I was like, well, what do you think about like the Discord? And he's like, boy, let me tell you. And then
I could fix it.
We spent maybe like an hour and a half where he was just making suggestions and we were making changes. And so one of the things I really appreciated it is it's a reminder that no matter what you're doing in cEDH, oftentimes there's someone out there who has either already done what you're trying to do or is really good in the way that you're trying to be really good. And so I was super grateful just to be able to kind of lean on his expertise. And
I'm going to nod my head in agreement. I'm a little distracted. He's drawing a minion, which is like, so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tim's great. And I'm sure Littlest Mensch is awesome, but we need to get him into some multicolored servers, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So anyway, we got the Lumra playmat. I think we both got ours, right? Is it like foil or something? It's like got a different kind of like
it's the I don't know what it is. Something about that playmat just speaks to me, man. Huge shout out to Gold Sabertooth.
Dude, I was like down low because no one's watching us, right? I'm thinking about a critical EDH playmat with a big fuck off C right in the middle, and then on the one side we got Consecrated Sphinx, and the other side you have Bane of Progress, and they're kind of like facing inwards on it. I'll have to workshop that one a little bit with the
that could be like a stretch goal. Like if we get like 1,000 subscribers, we do something like that.
I mean, I'm just willing to dump the money for it anyway. Like I don't care. But yeah, we'll have to talk about that. But anyway, shouts out to Tim, of course, one of the greats, and we didn't even mention we did an interview with him. We did an interview with him at Fishbowl, and I think we dove into some topics that probably have never been talked about in the realm of Magic.
It was I think it is the interview that I've sent to the most friends of being like, you got to check this guy out.
I don't care if you know anything about Magic, but you got to watch it.
Just interesting.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that we got to do with Tim, we've got some other tabs in cEDH.
Yep.
Beta Progress.
And speaking of like him just putting out work. He was streaming APs last night, so he's making artist proofs for his patrons. If you join a certain tier, every month you can get a artist proof hand drawn by Tim and colored and whatever you want, basically.
Yeah.
So my choice for this month is my first month was Band of Progress, and I was like, this is kind of my signature card right now.
It's so cool.
It just turned out amazing.
Yeah. And then didn't you guys get another one that's...
Yeah, I'd actually purchased... sorry. I purchased 3 APs from him at Fishbowl, and I said, like, it would be really nice if we got one for each of our cats. Unfortunately, one of our cats recently passed. So that was the one I got from him in person at Fishbowl. I'll try to, maybe I'll overlay it or something here, or I'll just link it. And then last night he drew the other 2, but here's one of them.
It's so cute.
This is our new cat, Roger. Definitely named after Rograk. There's no question about it. He is orange and he has a single brain cell.
Yeah, that's what the 01 is for.
Yeah. Exactly. Dude, he even drew like the little kobold helmet on him too. It's like, it's perfect.
It's so perfect. But yeah, I didn't know that was like a service that Tim offered. So if it's something you're super interested in, I know a lot of people in the Magic community really like Gold Sabertooth. Go head over to his Patreon.
He's very inspiring to me, at least in the Patreon sense. Like, okay, there's a number of ways that Tim is inspiring to many people, right? But as a creator now, I'm thinking I need to step up my Patreon game. I need to actually give rewards to people that want to donate money or want to see content out of us. But like, he is legitimately delivering on rewards. So that's so cool to see. Whereas I think like a lot of people are just willing to sort of passively take money or take income from patrons or fans. Tim is not doing that. He's definitely putting in the work.
Oh yeah. Super duper cool. Great guy to talk to. Cal as well, who helps him with the logistic sides of things.
Corn Dog. Shout out to Corn Dog.
Corn Dog. Or if you're their USPS lady, Horn Dog is apparently what she calls him.
Right, I'll have to ask you that later about that story.
I think she just misheard it the first time called him that.
Oh wait, I just want to check real quick before we move on from Tim. Man, he's still pulling 50 viewers. He was at like 65 or 70 earlier.
Yeah,
but that's Tim. That's his dedicated the Saber Cubs, the cave or Saber Cave or whatever.
His stream is so much fun to be a part of,
for sure. Anyway, check him out. I think we're done glazing Tim for now, but yeah. Speaking of other stuff going on,
talk about Patreon.
Yep. That's, oh man, like, it's almost like we planned this. So on our Patreon, we have a new episode in which Jason, he's actually legitimately a top 10 ranked player right now. He gives a coaching session to my wife, she really take a break from cEDH, but she's like, I think tournament play is like a bit much for me. Like, she still plays with us casually, but she's like, now I kind of want to pick up and start playing and start winning again. So they did a coaching session. Eric was in the producer seat, and we kind of did like a multi-camera thing where we had the camera down on the play mat, and then a camera for Eric and a camera for Jason and Emily, and they just went over T&K and like what it's like to play the deck, how to mulligan effectively, and
super fun conversation to be a floating head in. We discovered in our Discord chat earlier today that Jason is now the #1 Jason in the championship series, so kudos to him. But yeah, something I really enjoyed about the conversation is it wasn't just going over mulligans, but also right, instead of like, oh, just kick this hand or keep that hand, what is it about these cards that's going to put you in a spot you don't want to be 2 or 3 turns from now? Or especially relying on Jason's kind of experience to kind of imagine the type of board state this will create like 3 or 4 turns from now. Just getting to kind of lean on his experience to see like, oh, here's the kind of path to victory that you may not see within these cards. So super great video. Once again, it's not paywalled behind anything. Would highly encourage you to go
I didn't even mention that. Yeah, it's out to all free Patreon members. We just want to sort of build a tighter community, start to give back. If you do want to donate, that super helps. It helps us pay for the green screen, all the lights and the setup and time and all that stuff. But if you don't, that's okay too. We just try to give early access to patrons, and then it'll be out eventually to the public.
We're just happy to be here. We would yap about Magic even if there wasn't
we took our wives out to dinner earlier, right before we got here.
Yeah, triple dippers, baby.
And we talked about Magic the entire time. So
yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, either if you're a Blue Farm player or if you're just looking to get some advice on mulligans from a top tier player, would highly encourage you to go check that out.
We've pulled up the deck list here, and then that's obviously linked in the video there as well. So check out that deck list. It's a little bit tweaked, I think, just for, man, this is going to sound so bad saying it, like for accessibility, and just
no,
like,
that's
like Necro's not in it, for example, because it adds a layer of complexity that's really not necessary to convert games at like the level that she's at. So
no, I was talking with Jason about this specifically. He's a huge fan of Tremnick specifically, but also just in general Tremnick's list. But it requires a lot, both on technical skills, but also you really have to be able to eke out every bit of value with each card to truly get that list to perform at its peak potential.
Right.
As opposed to, I think this is a great list for if you're just looking to pick a Blue Farm, get a feel for the deck, and start learning what the commanders have to teach you.
Jason was messaging, was it you that or Emily? And he's like, I kind of like. I think this list is a little better than mine.
This is so much better than mine. Either way, yeah, definitely go check out that video. And if you're interested in Blue Farm, I think it's a great list to start on.
Speaking of lists that may or may not be better than mine or his or whatever, our friend of the channel, the Papa Squats from the Magda Discord, decided to take a little break from Magda, and he took Glarb to his local tournament, and that. First of all, that's 3 colors, right? Not one. And those are also 3 colors that are not red.
None of those are red. I don't think there's a single dwarf in this deck.
No, definitely not.
Not that he's swearing off, Magda or anything. But I think it was really great getting both to talk to him at Fishbowl and kind of message him a little bit on Twitter as well. He has just grown so much as a player in the last year or so. That now he's trying to, from what it seems like, is stretch himself as a player, kind of push himself into new waters, some new swamps. And he,
come on, bro.
It seems like he did really, really well down in Arizona because he took a top 4, right?
Yeah, he had a top 4. I didn't even give him so much as a primer on the deck. I think he also had a slight misunderstanding with me where he ran my Snowy Summit list, and he didn't pick up any of the changes that I've made since then, which I consider to be improvements. But it ultimately, it's the same deck. It does the same thing. But he just killed it. He was like, man, I felt like I was in control the whole time. I felt like I was able to respond and politic well, and he was like, I'm not used to having these tools. Not to say that, again, Magda's not a bad deck, but it's just a different deck. It's very different.
I would be really interested, hopefully if he's going to the Heisenberg or anything like that, we can get a conversation with him. I would love to know the ways that his experience on Glarb are now causing him to reevaluate the ways that he plays Magda, because I think I've really begun to experience the benefits of playing other decks, either not only to learn how they function, but learn how they stretch you as a player in new ways. And even though I think I still have the 1 or 2 decks that I really prefer and lean on, I'm increasingly impressed by how valuable it can be just to take a list just to one tournament, or even just play it for a week or 2. And really, really glad it worked out for him. He's a huge friend of the show, super great guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And shout out to Arcanum Sanctorum. It looked like they pulled off a really, really good tournament.
Yep. Not much else to say about that, except for we have another friend of the channel,
Glarb X2,
that also took Glarb to tournament. Mr. Ian Flannery, comedian himself. It's a bit of a smaller tournament, but his locals, he took down a 20-player tournament with Glarb. I'm not gonna say much about the list. He had messaged me about it, and I was like, "Yo, that's freaking awesome." But he's like, kind of keeping the list on a little bit of the down low right now because he's still working on it. So he and I had some conversations about it, but I just congrats to him. And it's awesome. I think Ian can pull off wins with any deck. So but still, I mean, seeing Glarb in his hands is really cool to see.
Oh yeah. And I don't think it's I don't think it's by accident that he consistently takes so many of these different decks to tournaments.
Yeah.
Because he absolutely, like, he is just an incredible cannon pilot. I know there's other decks as well that he can just a master level player.
Well, I handed him my OBM list, Corvold list. Do not recommend. Do not try this at home.
We did not know his OBM list when we handed it to him.
No, I was packing decks for the to just like extra decks to take with me to Fishbowl, and I was like, hey, this one's awesome. Like, I had fun with it. Let me throw it in the bag, and it sat in my bag all weekend. And then Ian comes up to the table. He's like, hey man, like, can you give me a deck to play? And I'm like, here. He goes, okay. He's like, Corvold Landfall, that's cool. And then he went to like tutor for OBM, and he's like, I don't think it's in here. And I'm like, this is kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, you're like, oh, here, hand it to me. I'll help you look. And then you guys are both just there, like, rifling through it. It was really fun, though.
But of course, he won with that. Like, he's like, oh, no OBM, no problem. You know, I'll take the W with it anyway. But yeah, so anyway, congrats to Ian. Hopefully, maybe we'll see a little bit more of Glarb in the future from him. It seems like the deck is kind of like just taking off in popularity.
Yeah. I lost to a Tevis Thrashios this last Saturday. I think Sultai's just a really good spot right now.
It's so weird. It was so bad before, like, the bans and stuff. I just didn't think it was really it. And now it just feels like there's something there. I'm not really sure how to quantify it.
Like,
yet.
even playing Blue Farm when I'm against the Sultai list, sometimes I catch myself going like, oh, God, I wish that were me.
God, why can't I run Noxious Revival?
Oh, man.
All right. Terrible segue to the next thing. Let's talk a little bit about our sort of the goings on with tournaments and other stuff that were happening this past week. I think the big one for me, or at least not for me, because I was planning on going to this, was From the Vault in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee. And they had a tournament for 10 duels. So if you win, you get all 10 duels.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to go, but like the week right after Fishbowl, man, it was just kind of like, I was so gassed. Yeah.
I mean, I think this wasn't something we'd planned on talking about, but I think it is worth spending a little bit of time on, right? Like, you're a known tournament grinder, where you're making a run for the Invitational. Right. One of the hardest parts about this tournament was it, kind of getting into the ground floor. It had a huge wait list. What were some of your thoughts when you were like, I want to go, this is a really cool tournament, but I think it may be better for me as a cEDH player to take a week off?
Yeah. I mean, I to be honest, there was a couple of factors. One was I didn't book flights before I went to Fishbowl. And so in the back of my head, I was like, if I don't book before Fishbowl, that kind of already tells me that I'm not going to go. And then at Fishbowl, I'm like, man, I'm having such a great time. This is awesome. And then I immediately got tired. Like Sunday night, I got tired right before, like, getting 3-4 hours of sleep, getting on a plane at 6 a.m. And I was like, I'm going to be gassed all week. And then I got to turn around and do this again Thursday. And like, the idea was that I go, okay, I travel to the West Coast, get some experience with different players there. I travel to another geographically totally different location, get some experience with the players there. I know that, I think, forgive me if I get names wrong, like one player I know of up there is like Sam Black and Shauna Giles. I hear about their success and how good they are as players. I'm like, it would be awesome to play against them and maybe have that experience too. And I was looking forward to that. And I probably will look forward to going to an event there in the future. But now I feel like a total pussy because Gold Sabertooth went to Fishbowl and then he's like, I'm going to Manifold. I'm like, God, that could be me. Like, I don't have the work ethic he does.
I think it would be something I would love to either talk to like Jonah or Pigeon or some of the either people at Level 7 or the MTG Basic guys who travel a lot. That idea of kind of like tournament endurance.
Yeah.
Because I think I was in a really similar spot where I knew that like if I went to a big tournament, I just would from the get-go be underperforming. And if I'm trying to play the long game, if I want to consistently be improving as a player, in the same way that not every moment in every game is when you're supposed to push, not every weekend is the best weekend to put it all on the line.
Yeah, and instead we went to locals that week or last weekend, and I did okay. Like I did fine, and Emily went. And we had a good time, and we got our own learning experience out of that, and that's like enough, at least for the weekend. Because we didn't get home till like 2:00, and we had the time change this weekend as well.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a really good point. Us as cEDH players and tournament grinders, I think we're always like evaluating each situation based on like sections of time. And it starts to get longer and longer and longer as you become more experienced as a player. So I used to look at like, man, I need to get through this next turn cycle because I might lose the game. And then it became, well, I kind of need to just get through the whole game and maybe I can eke out a win or maybe I'll eke out a draw.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, well, if I can do that and like I'm comfortable doing that, then it's, I need to get through this tournament and like, how do I get to where I want to be in this tournament? And now I'm at the point where I'm feeling comfortable playing at tournaments. I'm no longer like nervous. I'm no longer really feeling any particular type of way.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, well, how can I be successful from a career perspective playing Magic competitively, and balancing that sort of put my foot on the gas versus rest and recoup and all that stuff.
It's so interesting that you bring that up, and this maybe could be a video in its own right. But yeah, I remember the first tournament I played at EG, I think we only had 3 rounds of Swiss. And I remember even after just the second game, because we went to go get lunch before that, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, Chief. Like I was exhausted. And
just like so much information is being thrown at you and your brain is like burning 1,000 calories every 10 minutes. You're just like,
and you're in some socially intense situations. And even though it's like fun and we're all there to compete, it can really take it out of you. But now I've gotten to the point where instead of just looking towards the next game or the next tournament, I think I'm starting to try and put myself on the trajectory of where do I want to be? Like I want to be as interested, if not more interested in improving as a cEDH player 1 year from now. Like I hope we still have that hunger, still have that drive.
And that's part of it is resting, recouping, taking the right things away from these experiences. I definitely had some questionable experiences at Fishbowl, whether it's bad plays or what I deem to be bad interactions or whatever. But like, I kind of knew that would happen going in. So I'm trying to like not focus on those things, take away like, how could I have played differently? What could I have done to actually get there regardless of those factors, and things like that. So, I think it's all about framing and your perspective. And I think if your perspective isn't shifting as you're, developing as a player, then like, that's something you should try to focus on and say like, how can I make this less about like this moment in time and more about like the next 3 months or the next year or whatever.
Looking at like one's development, it's important to be able to like look in the rearview mirror, but you can't live there.
No.
And so I think part of that was I think we both definitely needed a week or two to recover. So unfortunately, there's not going to be any from the vault interviews from Critical EDH.
Well, and speaking of time, I think the reason that we were bringing this up, one, the tournament was really cool. We had some really big names there, and what I heard was the top 16, one of the games.
It took 4 hours, right?
Almost 4 hours, or maybe a little bit longer than 4 hours.
There's some long days in cEDH.
And it happened on stream.
Oh, man.
So I watched maybe the first hour of that game. It was Sam Black and Tim and 2 other players I didn't know. And I was just like, man, like, it felt like everything was just happening in slow motion. And just watching it, I know you don't feel that as a player when you're sitting there because, like, even you and I can just sit here and talk and we're like, oh my God, we recorded for 58 minutes. Like, but yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely something to be said about that. And like, us as players, we got to figure some way around like a 4 hour game. That's too much.
Yeah. I'm trying to, pick my moments, to yap. I think, kind of generally, not as a rule of thumb, but just as a pattern of behavior, I've noticed that if no one's else talking, might as well be me. And so in tournaments, I'm trying to do a better job of like, is this the best time to kind of, like talk to the table and be like, hold on, guys, let's really think about what we're doing here. Or I don't know. Is there a way that I can be helping move the stack along? Because I think we all love CDH and we love CDH tournaments. And I think they're that much easier to enjoy when the rounds are 80 minutes.
Or very close to it. Yeah.
Well, shout out to everyone from the vault. Super glad that it seems like the tournament was a huge success.
I can't wait to go to one. They've been on my radar for a while for tournaments, and the flight from Denver to Milwaukee is like super cheap, easy. So I'm sure it'll happen. Just kind of when, but until next time, I guess.
Yeah, until next time.
Speaking of which, events wise, we're looking forward to a couple things, and some new things were announced.
Yeah, I got our eyes on some stuff.
Baldy, the judge at the Fishbowl, super nice guy, very authoritative voice wise, super interesting. I wish I got to talk to him a bit more, but he's a little busy. He did announce this event, Steel City Spectacular in Pittsburgh. It's going to coincide with the next events we talk about, but this is going to be the biggest CEDH event pricing wise ever.
Dude, it is so cool being a part of a format that continues to grow in the way that CEDH does. I'm super excited that Baldy's going to be there as well. He did a fantastic job at Fishbowl. I think you have 300 plus Magic players. At least like 2 opinions per person. Like it's got to be really rough keeping like a tight lid on that. But I think did a great job of not being like abrasive or not being a bully, but you knew he was in charge, and when he showed up,
decisive and to the point.
Yep. Kept I think anything from getting out of hand, and I think having kind of like a strong person at the helm like that is a great way to help. I don't think anyone got DQ'd. Or I don't think there were any big like.
No, not that I know of. I know someone got a turn skip, but they probably deserved it. So, anyway, he announced this event there, and he's like, "Why am I talking about this? Because it's my event." We're like, "Oh shit! Like that's cool." But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a huge deal. It's awesome it's really announced this early because this amount of prize money, you're going to want to plan for this.
It's going to be a big draw.
Let's see. I just want to say, man, first is $6,400.
That's so cool.
That's a lot of money. 226 participants minimum for the prizing to be guaranteed, and 500 plus seats. So,
dude, if we're
looking at like almost 50% bigger than Fishbowl.
Yeah.
No, more than 50% bigger. Yeah. Holy shit.
Holy cow. Well, this event is super exciting. It seems like it's going to be really cool, but also kind of simultaneously, it's the Invitational.
Yeah. So like, I want to go to the Invitational, and like that's kind of the whole point of me doing this. But like, I kind of want to go to Baldy's event. So like, I guess if I don't make the Invitational, I can be like, like there's this other event I could go to.
And then because there's also you also have the Invitational Open, which happens.
I think that is the Open.
That is the Open.
I'm pretty sure it is.
So,
okay. But like, it's a named. Okay. I don't know shit about anything, but I'm pretty sure that Baldy's event is the Open, but it's a named event now, so they're kind of like making it a bit more of a deal.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
well, $20,000 is a pretty big deal.
And the Invitational is 64 players with $15K in prizes. So that's going to be
cool.
That's going to be a gnarly event. So I want to be there.
Right now, I think in terms of rankings, at least amongst the Critical EDH members, Jason's 14th.
In points or in ELO?
In points, right, for the championship series. I think you're at 24th.
Yes.
And so both of you guys, if you keep doing what you guys have been doing, are pretty sure logging. I'm at 170, so I definitely need to
stop playing Lure.
I'm
just giving you a hard time.
I need to find whatever it is that got me to second place in
you'll find it.
And I gotta get back there. Yeah,
you'll be all right. I mean, hey, it was Bloom Farm.
Yeah,
But I think standings wise, we're looking pretty good. But if we can maintain momentum, and like I was talking to you at dinner, I was like, if you can kind of maintain the momentum you're on, you'll still make the cut. but you still have to like continue to perform at events. I think Jason and I have a bit more room to breathe in that regard. And while that feels nice, it also kind of takes the pressure off. And I really work well under pressure. So like if I don't have pressure on me to perform, then I'm going to be like lazy, and I need to like find a way to continue to do well. Yeah. Where I think Jason has that regardless. He just wins everything. So like, I don't know where that comes from. I wish I had that, but it's not me.
Yeah. I think I definitely am grateful for that pressure, because I think kind of similar to you, there's just so many aspects of cEDH that are so fun. I love the community, and especially going to be a part of this channel. There's so much to do at tournaments. But I do appreciate the ability of a numerical standing to communicate to me that I've got to make sure I keep my shit together and make it a top 16 more.
You're walking the line, but you gotta get it.
But yeah, I think really excited to see it. I think it'd be really, really cool if all three of us could go to the Invitational.
So we are in March, and the points cutoff is July 20th.
All right.
So let's put a little bit of timer on that. We'll keep checking how we're doing throughout these videos and stuff like that, and we'll just kind of keep you guys up to date if you're interested. That is. But yeah, these are some of the events we're looking forward to, and more closer than all those. We've got this really cool one.
Yeah, the Heisenberg H-Berg.
And we're planning on going, right? I hope so, because I registered today.
Yeah, I need to register. Yeah.
The Heisenberg is going to be awesome. It's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. What is the store that's hosting it?
It's something
Tavern of Souls Gaming. That's right.
Knew it.
You're right on the money there. This is being promoted by Freedom Waffle. I know he's walking around to like every event that he's at. He's like, go to the Heisenberg, and he's like handing out like little cards with the QR code and stuff. So we're looking forward to seeing him there. I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Tim's going as well. So it'd be nice to see Gold Saber there. Maybe there's a special playmat or something. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. I think there's definitely some other people from the Denver scene. I think most of the MTG Basic guys are going. I think the Iron Lion crew is going to go as well. But yeah, I think tournaments like this are always really, really fun to be a part of, because especially ones that the tournament organizers or even just like personalities who are going to be involved with it, like Evan, if they're able to get out, a month, 2 months ahead of time, there's just like this momentum to them that's really fun to be a part of.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite things about Fishbowl was kind of the time leading up to Fishbowl, where we already had our plans locked in, but then we started to focus more on playing and talking about like how we're preparing, what our mindset's like, all of those things. And now we get to start this over again. We have another event to look forward to within the next month or so. We can kind of start a little bit earlier. We can go, all right, let's start that tournament prep like mindset and momentum, and try to build up momentum getting into the tournament.
Yeah, because we've got quite a few silver and a gold event that we'll be going to between now and the Heisenberg. And so I'm really grateful to be in the place where it's not like, every second of every day, it's like do or die time, but there is still that feeling of like positive inertia. Already signed up for the next tournament, already have that next rung on the ladder that we're trying to climb.
Yes.
And I am just really, really enjoying the experience of always being able to like find something to improve, or even just like learn more about either myself as a player or people that I'm in community with, or just the kind of like national/global cEDH scene.
I think I'm more excited to record and like make content when I'm there than I am actually to play, because I had such a blast at Fishbowl, and like we're still not done putting out content for Fishbowl, but I've been putting out we have been putting out a video a day since Fishbowl, and we're still not out. Like I think we have like 5 more.
Yeah, I think for me, hopefully to our viewers who maybe haven't had the chance to travel to tournaments, there can be this feeling of, I don't know if I want to go and just, be trapped in a room playing, Magic all weekend. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Magic to be had at tournaments like this.
Yeah.
But also the entire time we were going out to eat with people, or again to talk to people we've only ever seen or talked with online. And it was just the whole thing, start to finish, good, bad, and ugly, was just a very special moment in time, and I'm so grateful to be a part of a channel where we're really strange to record a lot of that.
We all go to have a good time and compete, But for a lot of us, it's like a shared hardship where there's like all this bad stuff that happens. Maybe some of it's under your control, maybe not. But like you get to talk with your friends and commiserate with them. And like I know that the one round at Fishbowl, I walked out the front door and a buddy was like, hey man, like my round sucked. And I was like, dude, mine too. And then he's like, you want to go talk about it? I'm like, yeah. And then, like we walked off and just vented at each other for like 10 minutes. And like, I don't really have any negative feelings about the round really, but like I have a positive experience of like that whole, you know, commiserating, and it sounds so weird to describe, but like
it reminds me of, there was one time I was in college where I had I had walking pneumonia and bronchitis at the same time.
Holy, that sounds like someone we know that had Campylobacter. And what's the other?
Oh man, it wasn't jaundice, but
I'm referencing Northern Lion because we both watched Northern Lion a lot, and he had Campylobacter and I don't know something else like simultaneously.
Yeah, he lost like an insane amount of weight or something.
It was Salmonella.
Oh my word. Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So anyway.
But yeah, so I had walking pneumonia and bronchitis. And so I was like waking myself up from these like guttural coughs. And so I just stumble into like the common room of the college dorm. It's like 2 a.m. And this guy was up FaceTiming his girlfriend because she was on a trip overseas. And he said, you know, hang on, babe. And then he looked at me and he's like, bro, you look like shit. And I just went, I feel like shit. And I felt so like seen in that moment. Yeah. And I feel like sometimes you have that experience at tournaments of like, you'll be in this game, it'll just be absolutely heartbreaking how it ends. And then you'll just be walking out and someone who saw the game was like, dude, it looked like that game was rough. And then you just have this catharsis of like, it was rough.
Yeah, I don't know that I would like pay for this experience in any other fashion. Like I don't know that I'd like pay to have like my heartstrings tugged on for like an hour and then be like, oh, you know, you lose or whatever. And then you walk out and your buddies are like, oh man, it's all right. Like you'll get him next time and all that stuff. I just don't know how else you would get that experience. Like it's just, it's so unique. And like, it sounds terrible describing it, but it's really not. Like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
it's the, I think for me, what I took away from that is it was those friends, you know, it was you, it was Jay, it was Dom, it was, you know, the other Denver guys who were able to like kind of help keep me going throughout the tournament. And I think there were moments where we all were able to kind of like either lean on each other or help push each other forward. And I hope that, you know, kind of as a friend group, we can both do that with the Heisenberg as well. But I hope that if any of our viewers are having this kind of like frustrating tournament experience, or they're finishing up the weekend with a score that's with a lot less points than they were expecting, and they're asking themselves the question of like, why do I even do it? Hopefully they're in a place where they can have that conversation with someone who is able to like share that same emotion or that same experience. And I know we talk about it all the time, but we're both really into Magic, but also like the Gathering as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think the last thing I wanted to cover that I didn't pull up a tab for, but you know, you can shame me for that later. MTG Basics published a video today about Joseph Fago's performance.
Oh, that's awesome.
I wanted to mention that because like, go watch the video. He talks about the deck top to bottom, talks about his experience at Fishbowl. He got second, and I think he was the highest placing out of the Colorado
crew,
in the whole crew. But yeah, I mean, congrats to him, and go check out the video. The video is awesome.
Definitely have to watch it. It's the Rock Through Ice seems like a deck that you need to contend with.
I have a third best deck, and I think it's that one, and I think it's pushing for second.
Yeah, I think that like I think it, looking at especially Joseph's list, I think it's pretty similar to how you've structured your Glarb list in the sense of like God, I do not want to counter this spell. I know it wins them the game, but I refuse to counter this Shatterstorm.
He mentioned that in the video. He's like, I'm going to cast Shatterstorm. And then your opponent goes, man, I should Mind Break Trap this. And he's like, I don't care. Like, do it. I'm going to stop. Oh no, I won't make 18 1/1s. Like, and then, you know, something like that. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I get the my break trap out of the way, and like now there's another spell or something I can cast that's maybe a bit more impactful. You're absolutely right, where it's like it has all those like little pieces that add up to a sum that's greater than each individual piece. Whereas I would say like maybe a more entry level Rog Thrash deck would run something like Kin and Basalt. And this deck doesn't even run that.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't need to make infinite mana. It just makes a lot, which is effectively infinite.
Yeah. It, I think, is a great example of how Joseph Pigeon has played so much tournament cEDH. I think he's really good at feeling out the ways that a deck needs to be strong in order to win. And other areas where the deck can just be good enough, and especially if you're in Teamer, like 80 green mana is kind of the same as infinite mana.
Yeah. Well, and I won't spoil the video too much. Please go watch it. We'll have it linked in the description down below. But he did say like, you know, kind of before the tournament, I think this is something that you and I talk about, like how we were prepping for tournaments and stuff like that. He said before the tournament, he's like, I recognized or identified that the deck is fundamentally broken. Like there's something fundamentally broken about it, and in a good way, in a you know, this
like,
shouldn't
like
be
busted,
legal. Yeah, it's like busted. It's like it's cracked in half. You know, like there's something there, right? So he said like I just started playing it, started practicing it, kind of put my own spin on it, and then obviously he did really well with it. So I think that's kind of the he's epitomizing what we're preaching here, and that's like you know, to toot our own horns a little bit, but like play what works for you, play what you think is good, take what you think is good, and then fucking kill it with it.
Heck yeah, dude. I've got a long drive tomorrow. I'm going to watch that video or listen to it while I'm driving. I'm about to make my whole personality.
Nice. Sweet.
We do have, speaking of things that I'm making my personality.
Oh my God. This is the best news I've heard.
March Meltdown. cEDH Twitter.
So I think this happened last year, and I was really not ingrained enough in cEDH or Magic to really recognize what was going on or like really pay attention or just even know anything about it. But this account, Turtle, I don't know who it is actually, but they talk on Twitter all the time, and you'll find us talking on Twitter all the time, but not like this. Turtle is doing a March Meltdown of the past year of things. It's like 16 different events that are, let's say, notable in certain ways.
Yeah. Operating all the way from famous events to infamous events.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think just as people really interested in kind of the goings on of the cEDH community, I think it's fun to both like learn about stuff that kind of happened before I was super interested, but also to like see some stuff on here that like we were there for. And I think it's just fun. Boy, do Magic players love to yap, and it seems like that extends to Twitter as well.
Yeah, I think there's like no cEDH channels out there that have any amount of gossip or anything except for us.
Yeah,
we're like just a little bit, and this is one of those things. I think, like for example, the whole Temujin cheating thing is on there. That's the Mystic Recall.
Yeah. Versus
the cEDH RC, the rules committee that existed for about 2 days and then immediately died in a fire.
Dude, it's
wounded our local, you know, getting banned from tournament or getting banned from Top Deck. Our friend of the channel, Freedom Waffle, doing something with ChatGPT. I don't know what.
All at once, and in all these threads, Turtle does a good job of giving like a short, like little breakdown from them.
Oh yeah, and like I don't think this is supposed to be like a mean thing. It is like just factually accurate and funny. Like it's not like, you know, I don't know. It's not mean spirited because they're not saying like, oh, well, like screw these guys, like they did this or whatever. It's just like this happened. Yeah. The whole community knows it happened. And like enough time has passed where maybe it's not so sore anymore. Like it's not that big of a deal.
I dream that one of us ends up on this list and that we handle it with grace.
I'm
not me either. Okay, there you go, Jason.
Yeah. Jason's gonna crash out somehow.
Yeah, I hope that we could handle it gracefully because I think stuff like this, as comedic as it is, it's a way for communities as social and emotionally tethered as CDH to kind of self-regulate and self-examine kind of like the health of all the individuals within it.
Yeah, look inside a little bit, and kind of in a strange way heal, like because if this all happened in like the last year, right? And someone starts talking about it or whatever, they're like, no, that was like last year. It's like,
there's no way that was last year.
Yeah.
And so just to, as silly as it is, just for the whole CDH community to come together around half like a meme, but also half like a moment in time where as a community we can, in this crazy, March Madness way, say like, no, this actually like really affected me when it happened. Or I can watch two people I've never met fight about something I never heard about.
Oh my god,
interesting in its own way.
It was funny. Like I think there are two people, I won't name names, that were going back and forth in one of the Twitter threads about this, and I was like, it feels like mom and dad are fighting, and like I don't want to come home from school. But it's just like, I don't know, it's just funny.
But yeah, if you are someone who's interested in CDH and I think you're like us and you're just trying to consume more CDH content, I created a Twitter account literally like last week, and
like I know that Twitter is a controversial place for many reasons. Let's just say that, but you can engage with what you want to engage with, and you can not engage with what you don't want to engage with. And I want to engage with this.
I want to engage with it too.
So anyway, that's pretty much, I think, all we have for this midweek update, even though it was quite long.
I think the only thing left is what are we doing at this upcoming silver tournament?
Oh God,
level 7 BB.
Level 7.
Yeah, they've been doing silver tournaments now.
No. Okay, so you're talking the weekly.
Yeah.
But we got the EG one coming up on the 22nd as well. So I don't know. I played Glarb last weekend. Deck felt really good, just as it did in Fishbowl. I think I'm kind of like in autopilot mode with the deck. I don't know that I'm like growing as a player. So I think next week is probably the week I start to push myself to do something else. For better or worse, I guess. I'll probably play Tivit or something like that. I need to play white. What about you?
Dude, Rock Thrash is looking real good. I also I still really have at least like 5 or 6 Loomer games in my system. So if I can get it out on Spell Table between now and then, I'll be good. But I've been testing out like Sylvala, Staff of Domination. And it turns out that combo is really easy to pull off when you have a commander that's a 13/13 on turn 4.
That seems like a combo that's inspired by Mind Over Matter and sort of like where do we see that? Who knows? Not Tyler.
Yeah, I think something I learned from my experience playing Kinnan is that most decks, if you make a bunch of mana, you'll find a way to use it. So yeah, but I think assuming I'm able to kind of test Loomer as much as I want, since I took it to last week's weekly, I think I either want to take Rock Thrash or Kinnan this week, just because they're both decks I feel like I have a lot of room to like learn. And while I don't think I plan on taking either of them to Heisenberg, I definitely still I want to get inside like a Rock Thrash player's head and know what they're thinking.
We could both play Tiber decks. I could take Maelstrom Wanderer.
Oh heck yeah!
I don't know. It sounds kind of like a good idea. But I definitely won't learn anything. Nothing useful, at least. Yeah. I guess we'll figure it out. We'll have to talk, and we'll come up with a game plan.
And then finally, before we wrap up, something we are looking to do as a channel is me, you, and Jason are going to try and rank what we think the most mental missteppable spells are. But we need you guys' help. If you guys can hop in the comments of this video, we'll try to put something out on Patreon and on Twitter later. But the list is going to be generated by the 10 most referenced spells by our viewers. And then each of us individually is going to rank them. And then that's going to be a video. But we need you guys' help.
Because I think we all have a different opinion about how mental misstep should work or when to use it, that sort of thing. I know I've been a big proponent of not using it on certain spells and saving it for later. And a lot of people just like disagree with that. And there's I think kind of like the old turbo mindset of like use it while you have it.
Or as opposed to like what's most important, like the first spell that someone casts or the last spell that makes it on his stack before it resolves.
Yeah.
And so, if you guys think that, Esper Sentinel is an absolutely must counter, or if you think, nah, dude, I'm saving it for Veil of Summer, either way, hit us up in the comments, let us know.
Or they do land, Lotus Petal, Mana Bolt, and you're like, One Ring, misstep. Like misstep of Mana Vault, I guess, and maybe you're the Giga Brain of your group.
Or like, I don't know, are you stapling 2 mental misplays together to hit breach or
mental misplays? Mental misplay. We gotta interact with him in some point.
Lumra Pilot as well. He's part of the Build a Bear workshop. Yeah, he crushed it on a solo a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Wow. We're getting distracted again.
We're really good at that.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Looking forward to many future iterations of keeping tabs on cEDH.
Yep. Bye.